employees that this industry must significantly improve. You are on notice that city government is focused on you more than ever, and we will not stop until your operations are safer, more efficient for environmental purposes, and that your workers are treated more fairly. Thank you.
All right, questions?
Commissioner, we haven't, this has been an issue since 2010. Nearly like 50 people have died, have been killed.
I think those are the stats, yes.
Right. Why is it that this is A, the first time we're hearing from you about this, and B, has BIC done enough to ensure that that these companies are not running ragged across the city?
Well, BIC can always do more. I won't quarrel with that. BIC was originally created to root out corruption. In the last 3.5 years, BIC has become more focused on safety as a part of Vision Zero. I've actually spoken out quite a bit about this in the City Council. We actually have a bill now that the city and the administration and the council are discussing that would give BIC more authority over safety in the industry. So we are working and have been working to make this a safer industry.
What's the reason why BIC can't hold these private partners accountable?
BIC is a small agency. It takes a lot of people to do this, including the NYPD. BIC has 11 investigators. We couldn't do any of this without the NYPD. We couldn't. We don't have the ability to do that. We don't have the manpower to do that. And so we're working, as I said, to get more regulatory authority and to get additional staff to be able to do that.
Yeah. The message is drive safely out there. Lives are at stake. When you talk almost 50 people since 2010, 20 since 2016, one fatality is too many. Your reckless driving can end someone's life. Think of the lives that you're ending.
What kind of stuff are you seeing on the roads, or the patrol seeing on the roads in terms of these drivers? What kind of stuff are they doing?
They're running red lights, backing unsafely through intersections. We've looked at their equipment, and there's a lot of violations in the equipment, making these trucks unsafe to drive, and that's what Chief Chan and his personnel are going to be working on.
Commissioner, do you happen to know how many of these contracts, or how many of these companies you guys have put out of business or taken their license away from?
How many over what period of time?
So I guess since this has been going, since 2010, since 2010 when all these deaths were happening, have you taken these businesses out of service?
The way that BIC's regulatory authority is structured at this point, the basis that we have to do that is mainly integrity issues. One of the main aspects of the bill currently being discussed with the council is that the Business Integrity Commission can consider safety issues in our licensing decisions, which is a major change and increase in our authority. We currently have one company that's under emergency suspension that has a monitor up in the Bronx, and we're looking to do more of that. As I said, the industry has to change. One of the things that we hear in our conversations with carters is that often when they're out there in the streets, it's pedestrians that aren't paying attention and cyclists that aren't paying attention. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but these kinds of things are not that. When a trade waste driver runs a red light, when they speed, when they go the wrong way on a one-way street, that is nobody's fault but their own. And that's the kind of things that lead to these crashes that have to be stopped. Those are things that the trade waste industry themselves and their drivers can stop.
Commissioner, can you give us some sense of how many?
Hold on a second.
Right here.
I don't know.
Say that again? I think that's probably more a PD question.
Again, as we look at fatalities in the city and we drill down on where it's coming from, we see it more and more from this private cotton industry. And this is something, as we set out in the 19th precinct, the captain here went out, saw the issues out there, and it really came into focus. So this is something that we have to focus on. And we're working hand in hand with BIC. This is now a joint effort so that we can understand which of the companies that are causing most of these problems. We're going to let them know what our enforcement is and then see what steps they can take against the companies.
WABC.
Yeah, just can you give us some sense of, how many vehicles you're talking about on the road working for these private companies? At
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me about stats. So Sal, I can't read lips. So there are more than 7,000 trucks out on the road. Now they're not all garbage companies. Some of these are C&D companies, construction debris and other things. There are approximately, I think, about 120 companies that pick up commercial garbage. Many more pick up construction debris around the city. So it's a lot of trucks.
Chief Chan, can you talk about motor carrier safety and what kind of checks you guys do on
Our personnel, again, this is going to be a citywide initiative going out throughout all the 5 boroughs. Our officers will be working closely with BIC and also with our patrol officers. If we come across a particular vehicle, they identify that needs additional inspections and things of that nature, we will inspect the vehicle, and some of the vehicles will be placed out of service.
What kind of stuff do you look for?
Again, equipment violations, certainly defective brakes and things of that nature. If a vehicle has defective brakes, the hydraulics leaking, things of that nature, that vehicle is highly likely to be put out of service and be towed from the location. Some other equipment violations may not rise to that level, but nevertheless, we will be looking at inspections, and our motor carrier people will be our specialists that will be supplementing and assisting our patrol officers out there doing the enforcement.
Yeah, no, I got it right there.
Chief Chan, actually, you said that there were over 1,000 violations this year. Do you know was that specifically for these types of vehicles, or was that just violations in general? And then also, are you going to be having, whoever wants to take this one, are you going to be having checkpoints?
We've issued over 1,800 summonses this year. It goes to the private sanitation and carting, so that very well can include a dump truck and things of that nature. But what happened is that our officers will be out on patrol and also taking a look at certain locations where they may see more activity of these vehicles. So they'll be out there doing enforcement, and again, we expect them to follow the rules of the road. Nevertheless, this is something that we will talk about at Traffic Stat and continue to talk about and focus our attention. So while this initiative is for this week, we can expect to see continued enforcement in this area.
Again, there won't be a checkpoint, but there will be a car in every commando over the city that is going to be targeted and looking at the private carton industry. Again, Marshall.
Again, what happened is that vehicles, the placing of them out of service is one thing when the vehicle itself has to be re-inspected and have a corrected condition. The other area is that when an operator receives a B summons, a moving violation, when you get 11 points on your license, where you're found guilty by the Department of Motor Vehicles, you can have your license suspended and things of that nature. So any driver out there is responsible as a motor vehicle operator and is subject to suspension if they do not follow the rules of the road. Any driver that accumulates summonses and points on their license can lose their livelihood and also their ability to operate legally on our roads.
Commissioner, in the way that this has been sort of like, in the way that's been, we've been talking about this for a couple of months, I know you talked to Cranes about this. Is it just that Nick doesn't have the ability to enforce this? Or
No, it's.
they had said it like it was, Nick may not be in business or that kind of thing.
Oh, you're mixing up.
That's what Cranes said.
No, I mean, not being critical on my part, you're mixing up a couple different things, but that's okay. That had to do with the commercial waste zone structure that hopefully will be going into place. It has to go through the council first, but hopefully will be going into place in 3 or 4 years. BIG definitely has, in fact we are, exercising some authority. The purpose of this bill is to really make it clear and expand our ability to do particular things with regard to safety. Because again, when the Trade Waste Commission, which is what BIC was first created, it was the result of a series of criminal investigations that the Manhattan DA's office did to expose what law enforcement had known for decades was that organized crime controlled the whole industry. And so BIC is evolving with the times, so to speak.
How many trucks were stopped during this investigation?
Last night,
How many guys?
We issued
Good.
47 violations were issued on the night that the 19th precinct conducted their operation, for different infractions like red lights, backing unsafely, blocking roadways, and those type of violations.
Last question. Right, sir.
Sure. Are there any qualifications that, in order for someone to work in this industry, to drive in this industry, is there anything in particular that you need, some kind of license or background check or driver's license?
So companies that operate in this industry have to get a license. We only license the companies, not the drivers. The drivers have to be disclosed to us. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. We will then do a background check on them. And quite frankly, at this particular point, the focus is more on safety than anything else. They need a CDL, a commercial driver's license. There are different classifications depending on the size of the trucks that they operate. And of course, that's issued through New York State Department of Motor Vehicle.
So what kind of things do you look for in that background check?
Driving history is a part of it. Again, the bill that I've talked about very much expands our ability to do various things with regard to driving histories. So that would be the main focus.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.